What's up, Stokastic basketball fans? Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock for Sunday, December 4th. A lot of NFL action going on, but we're here to talk about a little basketball. We got a nice little 6-gamer. Starts up at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so an hour ahead of time. Make sure you plan accordingly. We've got about 59 minutes left to go before that, so we're going to talk through all the different games. We're going to go rapidly game by game, I think is probably the best way to tackle it since there was no strategy show, no deeper dive today. But fortunately, I'm here with my pal Matt LaMarca, who's going to be the expert on this show, take us through all the ins and the outs of this slate. Matt, what's going on, buddy?
I'm good. Nice to see you, Terry. It's been a while since we've done a show together. Yeah, nice little, a surprisingly large slate for a Sunday.
Yeah, when I saw that I was going to be on a show, I was like, that'll be, simple. I was thinking like 4-gamer, a little 6-gamer is a little bit of a twist and an interesting one, I think, with these game totals and a lot of really tight point spreads. So I think it's an interesting slate.
And the timings of the games are weird too, because you've got 5 of the 6 games tipping off at 6, and then you've got Pacers.
We're lagging like crazy, fellas. Like once again, I literally don't know what happened. As soon as I put y'all on the screen, it just started lagging. It wasn't lagging with the timer or anything. I put y'all on the screen, my entire system started lagging. So, let me message some people. Y'all just hang out for a second, see what the heck to do here.
All right. Are we coming through at least on the YouTube here? Should we continue talking as we're hanging out and see what the people can get?
Yeah, y'all are just kind of going to be really choppy right now. Okay. So other than that, we'll figure this out.
All right. So for whatever it's worth, Matt, I guess you and I will talk about it, and hopefully some of the info will get through to the people here. I'm going to jump into the chat here real quick and hang out, gang. We're talking about it during the choppiness on air right now. Gonna see what can be fixed in production. Please stop show early, fix lag. Thank you, John Sands. Yes, we appreciate the suggestion, John. We are working on that right now. So I just dropped a quick note in the chat there. But I guess, for people who can hear us, for anybody who's got a super fast internet connection or whatever the case might be, Matt, we're talking about how I think it's an interesting slate with a lot of really tight point spreads, couple injury questions lagging, but we've got a few decent pieces of info already as far as injury goes. So what are we thinking of in terms of how this slate looks? Brian C in chat says it seems fine now, so at least somebody can hear us.
The one thing that is really interesting to me is, again, 5 of the 6 games start right at lock at 6:00. So Pacers Blazers at the end is sort of like an island game. And of course, that's the game with some of the biggest news on the slate. So You've got Halliburton questionable for the Pacers. And then the Blazers have a few guys questionable. Damian Lillard expected to return tonight, but not official yet, at least as far as I know. So
are we trusting in that? Like, what's your trust rating if you were going, scale of 1 to 10, what's your trust rating in him actually being out there tonight?
I would say it's pretty high. I would say like a 7, but you never know, right? I mean, there could be setbacks, or maybe he's just not feeling as good as they were hoping. But, as things stand, I'm preparing as if Lillard's going to play. And that obviously is a pretty big detriment to the roster.
Yep, absolutely. And, certainly going to take Anthony Simons down a peg, who we saw, go for a just ridiculous game just last night. So some interesting impact to that. But yeah, it's critical that it's, of course, it's the last game where we've got a lot of pending news on a day where we're not going to be able to really late swap. You might be able to move a few pieces around within that game, but you're not going to be able to do anything about the other, 5 games on this slate. So it's going to be an interesting situation. Let's see how we're doing. Sounds like we're getting a little bit better. People can, I think, at least hear us. If you're within the sound of my voice and you're struggling with some lag, it looks like people are succeeding by hiding the video maybe and just taking us as an audio feed. So maybe you want to try that. But Tyler is working frantically in the background, I can assure you all, and banging his head on the desk, not sure exactly what's going on right now, but we'll get there. Hopefully, if not, hey, we're doing what subscribe, all that. We'll talk about No House Advantage in a little bit. We've also got a BetMGM No-Brainer up that we'll tease in just a couple of minutes. But let's get into the game by game because the clock is ticking here. Matt,
you're paying up. He's at 71. That's a very fair price tag. It's a very fair price tag for him. We've seen him priced much more than that in the past. He hasn't been the same sort of caliber of player this season. He's still fine. He's averaging over a fantasy point per minute, but he's not like it used to be. It's him and DeMar. Now it's DeMar is the clear number one guy, and he's more of a secondary player. So still think it's a good price tag for him. Those are sort of my priorities. You can throw in some DeRozan at 8,100. I have no problem with that. Vucevic at 7K seems fine. Patrick Williams, he's going to be on the floor a lot, at least. He's not a very good per minute producer, but I think this game is very exciting, but the Bulls not necessarily the most exciting team.
Yep, absolutely. It's a good spot, but kind of an unexciting team, and a team with a little bit of spread as well between Levine, DeRozan, Vooch, and then to a lesser degree, some of the other guys on the floor. There's just a bit of a spread in the fantasy points. I find when you go to the Bulls, you do get those outlier games where one of those guys goes off, but they're somewhat like the Raptors, where like there's a spread of good, and then you have to try and bullseye the great. It makes it a little bit difficult with this team. Looking at them from site to site, I do need to point out two quick things on your analysis, which I totally agree with you. Everything that you said there. Caruso looks a little bit more interesting potentially over on the FanDuel slate. He's got point guard and shooting guard eligibility. He's 4,200, pulling in a 17% optimal rate versus a 7.9 over on DK. So it looks like he's a little bit more relevant if he does go over on the FanDuel slate. And then Andre Drummond, unfortunately, we kind of lose from the FanDuel slate.
Yeah.
One, you've got the blocker of just only being able to play one center, but two, he's 4,600 on FanDuel. So unless minutes, I love the idea of playing him in tournaments when I can get a handful of minutes from him, but I think it's a little price and position restrictive today on FanDuel. So important call out there for anybody who can still hear us and is playing on FanDuel. Let's take a look over on the Sacramento side. We've got De'Aaron Fox. We've got Kevin Huerter popping to the top of the board on the FanDuel slate, but not so much over on DK. Harrison Barnes is looking like he's tracking okay for a game with such a big total, kind of trending toward that mid-range of just like, pretty good plays, but nothing really smashing through the top for the Kings. What are you seeing for Sacramento here?
Yeah, you mentioned Huerter. I think his FanDuel price tag is very appealing. He's another one that it's a little bit more site dependent with him. I don't mind taking a flyer with like a Terrence Davis on the Kings. I think he has some just a smidge of upside at 3,400. Another guy, he's averaging 1.17 DraftKings points per minute this season, so he can fill it up when he's on the floor. I think that they're stud guys on like the Bulls, so I would lean towards the Bulls studs in this game. But Huerter on FanDuel, Terrence Davis a little bit on DraftKings, Malik Monk. Possibly, if Terrence Davis is ruled out, I should point that out. Terrence total basically not the craziest game environment to target.
Yeah, it's a surprising lack of plays, and it's interesting just how it's going to, the impact of some of the other plays on the board, I think, are taking some of these guys down a peg in the terms of the optimal rates and all of that, because there are similar prices, similar positioning for a lot of the key guys. So it's just really interesting to have a game with that high. I think all that many clear-cut, no-brainer type plays, at least right now. If somebody scratches late, maybe we get that, but for right now, not really. Guys, for anybody who can still hear us, it does sound like we've got a technical solution on the way. So Tyler's going to hop in just a minute and guide us through all of that.
So
here he is.
Yeah. So chat, y'all just hang out for a second. We're going to switch over. Y'all don't have to go anywhere. Just stay here. It's going to be the little timer on the screen, like the show's restarting, and then Terry and Matt will be back. So yeah, we're going to do that real quick.
That's easy.
And yeah. All right. Y'all are good, Terry.